Whew, I think we're live. Wow. Okay. Are we live, Jordy? Let's see. Okay, I think we're live. I think we're live. Oh, I've been so excited about this evening. And it's I was on stage last week in front of almost 400 leaders in North Norway. And I gotta say, being here on the screen in front of my peers, other speakers, it's like it's much more nerve-wracking than being live on stage. Actually, it's a bit weird. So hey, we're just gonna start now, and we're gonna give like 2 minutes for people to join. We have a chat here, and we're all speakers, so let's just get a bit to know each other. Write your name and like, hey, like, what's your goals for 26 as a speaker? What's your current fee? If you want to share that. Do you have an agent today? How's that going? So yeah, let's get to know each other a bit. Hey, there's sound. Jordy, can you check if you can hear me? Do other people also have problem with sound, or let's see. I have my microphone on. Let's see. Does my sound work, Jordy? Now it works. Okay. Super. Okay. We always scared of those technical things. Hey, David. Hey, Donny. Hey, Anu. So great to see you all here. So, hey, this webinar, I don't know if you've been to other webinars. I've been to a few, and I really hate when it's a really long intro and it's all the fluff. So we're just gonna like go straight to the case. I'm gonna share things that I've learned while I'm writing my book, The Speaker's Playbook. So yeah, can you just like, why we're gonna give people 1 more minute to join. Before that, can you share like, do you have an agent today? What's your goals for 2026 as a speaker? Where you're based, and perhaps also your name. That'll be great. And also, if people want to like share their LinkedIn, please do that. That'd be amazing, so we can connect a bit. Okay. I've been so excited about today. It's gonna be awesome. Great. All right, let's see what we get here in the comments section now. Keeper. Yep, let's connect. Super. Okay, let's just roll. So who is the next like 45 minutes for ish? This for speakers, like, you already have experience on stage. You want more consistency, and you want to get better clients, and want to get higher fees. Like, this is not for those who are just starting or maybe just had one gig. Of course, you can pick up some tips, but I think people in the audience here today, they are real like on quite a high level. Hey, Anna, based in Sweden and Cyprus. I want to escape the Nordic winter. Yeah, I'm from Norway. I'm most of my time in Barcelona. Go 3 gigs a month. Yeah, that's really good. I think you will learn some stuff here, and maybe get a good perspective on the speaking agency. Perfect. So how did I make this webinar? So I've been doing like over 130 gigs for the last 12 years, around 250K in speaking gigs. And the thing is, like, for the first 10 years, I was kind of like, okay, this is going good. This is awesome. And then I saw a lot of speakers who were kind of, I would say, charging more than me, but they weren't necessarily better than me on stage. And I was like, okay, I need to take this more seriously. So I started to really figure out like, how can I do this? So I sat down with a lot of speakers and had a coffee with them. Like, one was with Halvor in Oslo. He's been doing 300K, amazing speaker. And I was like, just like writing down 10 pages, and I was like, this is crazy. Then I sat down with Solfrid. She's Speaker of the Year in Norway. Last year, she did around 600,000 euros in speaking gigs. And again, I wrote like 15 pages. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. So then I decided like, okay, this knowledge should be shared with others too. So I decided to do this coffee with public in a podcast format. So each week I meet a few speakers. We have like a coffee online where I share, when I ask them like how do they got to their level, how do they get gigs, and we really dig into subjects. And the goal here is by the end of this year to release this book. It's going to be 100 really good tips from 100 of the best speakers in Europe. So that's like how this webinar came along. And during the next now 40 minutes, I will share some really patterns I see in those speakers who are performing really well. So, okay, you ready, guys? Should we just roll? Let's go. Yeah, nice. And hey, Ingrid, really cool. Okay, fee between 1 to 2,000. Refined keynotes, different stages. Okay, super. I see a lot of people here don't have an agent. That's really cool because we're going to dive into how to get an agent, how to work with an agent, and how to really succeed that collaboration because it's a very it's a very interesting subject. All right, so let's go. Jack, hey, also nice to see you. Cool, development legal expert, public speaker, and trainer. Awesome, really good to meet you too, guys. I'm really happy we are using this chat this good. Let's really get to know each other. And at the end of the call, I suggest we all drop like our LinkedIn's and connect. Super. Okay, goal 3 to 4 talks a month. Amazing. I'm going to show you how I do outreach and other speakers do the outreach to conference and gigs. Nice. All right. So what I see is like I'm starting to see really patterns between the speakers. And what I did with those is we sat down and kind of mapped out like what do speakers do right, who are consistently booked, and we turned that into like the speaker wheel framework. It's kind of I see that those speakers were really succeeding. They having like a very well maintained a business around the whole speaking thing. So it looks like this. We're going to break it down and then we're going to give really good tips on how we can improve each one of them. So guys, just be prepared for the next like 30 days to be try to set aside some time because the tips I'm going to share is something you can easily do yourself, implement it, and it will kind of make your whole speaking machinery much more smoother. So first we start with position, like it just be really clear, like why you, what changes after your talk, really wow signature keynote. And the keyword here is signature keynote. The best speakers have 1 or 2 presentations. They just do over and over again. Visibility, they are very easy to understand what problem they solve. Sales and outreach, they're very good at spotting the right opportunity and follow up and do the follow-up that really close them as a speaker. Most of the speakers I speak to do very good and neat direct outreach. I'm going to share later how to find the conferences, how to find the right phone number, how to find the right contact person, etc. They work really well with agents and they work very strategically well. They have the right amount of agents in each country. We're going to touch that. And they have a really close relationship with them. And proof of assets, like the speaker reel, the website, everything is really on point. So then let's just roll. The thing is, like, if one of this is off, it's kind of feels like, you're driving with a punctured tire. And that's why we're going to touch each of these points and just show like what is the basic you should have in order to have this speaking business going well. Curious, like people like, are you full-time speakers? Are you doing this part-time? Most of the successful speakers I know, they do this part-time. They have 15 to 20 gigs a year. That's personally my goal too. It's been to always have 10, 15 gigs, but now I'm working towards getting higher paid gigs. Wow, okay, super, got an agent for 15 years now, 70, 80 gigs a year, super, up to 10,000 internationally. That's rare, but that's really good. Are you based in Denmark, John DK? That's correct? Because we see that 3,000K is like a very common fee in Norway, Sweden, Denmark, and then you go inside like UK, Germany, and US, it's much easier to get like those 10K gigs. Super. Okay, so first let's start with positioning. Sounds like Captain Obvious, but like let's look at the markets who now pay good in 2026. We've done some research here. So who typically book speakers and pay 3 to 6K for a 30-minute talk. What's cool here is like I've been doing this webinar before. People are always enthusiastic. I got one message from a guy. He said that he rewatched it 3 times. I take that as a compliment. And here I'm going to plant some ideas. Maybe you spot a market where you haven't tried to solve yourself yet. So first of all, internal events, of course, one of the biggest potential. I just spoke in front of 200 franchise leaders in Norway for Norway's biggest pizza chain. And by the way, yeah, my topic as a speaker is I speak about how to better recruit and lead Gen Z, because I founded Norway's fastest growing pizza chain. I went from 1 to 11 locations super fast. I had over 100 employees under me, most Gen Z, and I created that into a talk. So that's my topic. So total events are still I would say the biggest main driver. We have associations. It's like great if you want to travel a lot. The cool thing about associations is like usually they have budgets 2 to 3K. It's very hard to get that 5K budget unless you are really famous, but you get to kind of like a very big exposure. So for example, I spoke in HSMI Oslo. It's like an organization for hospitality. And in the audience, it was so many businesses like Amex, different like banks, etc. And when I go off stage, I already have a few new leads from companies. They're like, hey, can you come and share this in our company? And the cool thing is, like, once you get into one of these associations, you can just contact all the regional offices in Europe and be like, hey, I just spoke in Oslo, HSMI, like, this is the feedback. Do you want me to come to yours? I did this with one association before COVID, and it was really cool because then you get to like travel and you get exposure in a new market. It's a really great way to start to grow internationally. Then we have government. I usually say very pleasant customers. I usually spoke at the biggest hospital in Oslo. It kind of feels like, you know, getting your tax money back early. But usually very pleasant customers. They usually have surprisingly big budgets. You can read in the news like the public sector is cutting down, but for some reason for us speakers, they still have really good budgets. Yes, John Dick Denmark's here. Yeah. Okay, René from Denmark. Hi, rart å møte deg. Yeah. Had tried a few agents, haven't had success yet. Okay, so I'm working with a lot of speakers who are struggling with their agent. I can't wait to get to that part. Non-profit, usually not the biggest budgets, but I've seen speakers manage to do 2 to 3.5K here. But it's a very good exposure. They invite all their donors, and it's a very nice way to get more gigs. Breakfast events, this is one of my favorites. I did one for Farmer Relation, for example. They invited all the customers. I was the only speaker. So one morning, one speaker, they invite their clients, they share some updates, you know, them as a company. And actually from here, I got contacted by AstraZeneca. They were in the audience and they're like, hey, Gen Z is a topic for us. Can you come and do this presentation? So breakfast events, that's something I pitch a lot right now. I contact companies where my talk identifies with their customers. And I say like, hey, do you want to do this breakfast event for all of your customers? It's high value for them. It's fun for you. And usually like this is like a 3K thing. I really enjoy this. And it gives me as a speaker a really good exposure. Then we have webinars, also one of my new favorites. I was really skeptical about this because my talks are with humor and memes and energy, and I'm sitting in front of an amazing group of people here, and I can't see you, right? I'm going to do some jokes later. I have no idea if you're going to laugh. But then, you know, I did one event for Tidsskriftene. It went so good. The rating was amazing. I went to the office for the first one. And then 1 year later, they called me like, hey, Max, can we do this again? Because not everybody could join last time. And I'm like, yeah, sure. But then I did a remote from my home. And I was like, you know, it's actually quite cool. You're sitting at home, just drinking coffee and doing like the rate here was 2.2K, but still like that's a great start of the day. Okay, we have Anu here, Corporate Maestro. I really like that title. I'm mostly training professional speakers, but I'm going to get to stage myself. Cool. How long was this breakfast event for you to be on stage? So we're going to talk about the length of a good presentation, Anu, but like here I was 40 minutes on stage, and then they did like a 20-minute presentation, and then there was coffee and networking. That was like for the breakfast events. I try to keep it to maximum 35 or 40 minutes. Very good question. And hey guys, I'm so happy we're using the chat here. We have some really cool speakers. Like I talked to all of you before. You've been also talking to my co-founder, Jordi. We have some really cool people in this webinar. I'm really proud of that. Then, why you? It's high competition. If you look at your website, your speaker reel, your email signature, do you transparent why you are unique, especially in fields that are very crowded? Talk about leadership, resilience, avoiding burnout, now AI. Is it clear why you are unique? Are you communicating clearly this, with conferences? And what we see is very important in 2026 is like, what changes after your talk? Is your marketing assets like focusing on ROI, or I want to share my story? I'm gonna say if it's I want to share my story, you're gonna struggle much more than those who focus on ROI. We see this like 5-6 years ago. Most conferences were like, yeah, we want a cool speaker who will come, entertain, do something fun. Right now, when they bring an external speaker and they pay him good money, they're focusing on return of investment. Okay, so if we pay 3K for Anu to be on stage, we have 100 leaders here, all of them, we're paying a salary. Is this worth our time? So be very clear. What's the return of investment? Like, you can't just say, I want to share my story. So the book, like, yeah, they change and they calculate it. For example, I'm very clear in my branding. You will recruit the best people, you will reduce turnover, and you will remove frictions between generations. So when they book me as a speaker, they know that, hey, if just one young Gen Z quits because they have bad leadership, recruiting them will cost them 15, 20,000 euros in recruitment cost. So the ROI of having me there is just, it's a really, really big ROI. So I focus a lot on being very clear on that. So that's like that. Presentation delivery. So we had a good question here from Anu about this length. So let's just look at the presentation. First of all, the best speakers, they have a signature keynote. My advice is also to have maximum 2 or 3. Why? Because practicing and knowing each keynote and being really good takes time. If you have 9 different keynotes, it's very hard to deliver them in a wow way. And if you want to be a really successful speaker, the presentation needs to be wow. So we call this, inside our organization, we call it the hero talk. And it looks something like this. It's a 20-minute talk that you can very easily adjust to 30 or 45 minutes. And it's a signature keynote you can give again and again and again for years to come. I've been doing my talk about Gen Z for the last 6 years. And at some point, I told Nils, my manager, I was like, Nils, I'm a bit worried. Like, Norway is a very small country with 5 million people. I've been doing this stuff for 5 years, over like 80 times now. Should I do something new? And he said, like, man, look at Solfrid. Solfrid, she's been doing her talk for 20 years. And she's the highest paid speaker in Norway. Same talk for 20 years. Yeah, maybe some slides changes, some points, but it's the same delivery. So it just shows that the hero talk is very, very important to do over or again. 20 minutes is where you speak. This is where you shine on stage, you deliver the sentences. Every sentence is carefully thought through. It's wow. 10 minutes can be interaction with the audience. For example, like, hey, so how can you better create a better onboarding experience, especially for young people? Talk 2 minutes with the person next to you, and then we do 1 minute discussing. Put 3 of those in, boom, you have expanded your talk from 20 to 30 minutes, and you don't need to practice those lines. Then if they say like, hey, can you do 35? Then we're going to look at digital tools. We're going to look into a tool, Slido. Then you can use some audience interaction, like make a quiz, make a word cloud. But again, you are not speaking. You should be speaking like 20 minutes, and it's just like, wow, every sentence, every slide, it's a beautiful crafted story. Okay. So there are 5 structures. This is also a really cool thing I work with a lot of speakers on, is have actually a good structure. Sometimes you should look at your talk and just like take 2 steps back and think like, is this the best structure I can have? I'm going to show 5 that works really well. So first of all, 7 trends. For example, like 7 trends in leading and recruiting Gen Z millennials. This works very well because it's fast-paced, easy to follow. I recently developed a new talk in the summer. It's called 7 Communication Trends for Gen Z. Super easy to present on stage, very easy for the audience to do. Intro 2 minutes, trends 15, and conclusion 3. Boom. Then you have the 3-chapter narrative. This is the one that I use when I speak about Gen Z and recruitment, and leadership. So, bridging the generation gap, you have chapter 1, introduction, chapter 2, millennials, chapter 3, Gen Z. Story-driven and easy to expand into longer workshops. Problem, mistake, hey, this is like, why are you losing talent and how to stop it? So the structure is, you have the problem first, common mistakes businesses do, solution, and then calls to action. This feels like a TED, and appeals to logic, emotional urgency. Also a very, very neat model. Before and after, hey, this is how we used to do it before. This is how we're going to do it in the future. And this is how we can implement this into your organization. Very simple, visual, and it makes, well, I was right, change feel doable. Then if you're a coach, you can use the action formula. For example, like say here we have you see that you have a very clear formula on how businesses can achieve X with your tips. This works really well, like in case you have something you developed yourself. And again, like why do we say that presentations should be the same over and over again? Imagine like I was in London 2 years ago and I watched Phantom of the Opera, and it was just it was really cool. And if I go back there 2 years later with, for example, like a girlfriend or someone else, I want to go there and I expect exactly the same songs, I expect exactly the same effects, and I expect exactly the same actors. And this is what happens too. Like if you have a really good signature talk, people will remember it and they will recommend it. Next week, I'm going on stage in Oslo. It's 60 retail leaders. They saw me live 3 years ago in Oslo. Now they suddenly call me and they're like, hey, now it's a good time. We want to book you. I have a meeting with them. And she's like, and by the way, those slides where you talk about the first day, how you can like make the first desk really nice, are you going to include them? So people like, they expect the exact same presentation that I did 3 years ago, maybe with some new facts, but it just works. My question to you is, do you usually customize your presentation for each client, or do you usually do the same over and over again with some small tweaks? How do you usually solve that? Okay, anyone want to share? Do you customize every time, or do you actually have the same talk that you're doing over and over again? And which structures are you using? Same basics on peaks, super minimalistic slides. Okay, cool. Anyone else want to jump in? Guys, we're having so much fun. This is like old speakers, and I've been so excited about today. Like I've been thinking about this webinar all day. Okay. See, someone else wanna jump? Yeah. 50 old new. Okay, Donnie, that's interesting. Yeah. Okay, I do no slides. I have to adapt. Okay, yeah, same structure but some tweaks. Cool. Okay, we're on a good path. Then we have like clear promise and outcomes. So I like to open up the presentation, talk about openings. I got some tips here from the different speakers. Every time I do a podcast, I ask how do you open your talk and how do you close it. So I like to talk I go on stage and I'm like, I'm so excited to be here. And then I look at the audience, and if I had a meeting with them before, which I always do, I say like, hey guys, I talked to Mette before this talk, and she says that you have a real challenge with X, Y, and Z. And I'm really excited that today we're going to discuss exactly about that. Just saying that sentence makes them feel like, wow, this talk is for us. He knows our challenges, and now we're going to dive into that. So that opening, focus on the value, I've seen really helps keep that attention high. So that works really well. Stories that create belief. Arman is a very good friend of mine. He won Speaker of the Year in Norway. He used to be in prison he did a lot of weird stuff, but now he is married to kids, Speaker of the Year, and he's one of the best storytellers I know. We actually did a 20-minute masterclass with him. We're gonna send it for free out. Just watch it. I watched that 20 minutes 6 times, and after this masterclass for Arman, I was like, my stories suck. I have a big job to do. But the question is like, do you make people laugh? Like last time we did a talk, do you make people laugh? I did a cool podcast here with Cecile. She's a very famous stand-up comedian in Norway, and she talks about she's a French in Norway, so she talks about how to bridge cultures between different countries in an organization. And she had a really cool advice that I liked. She said like, look at all your presentation and find that moment when you know that this moment is a bit dull, these slides are a bit boring, or this statistic is a bit like it's important but it's not that fun. Find the most boring and sad part, like boring and not cool part of your presentation, and that's where you should start to add fun. Add a meme, add a joke, add something fun. So think about, do you make your audience laugh? Do you make your audience cry? Do you shock them? Do they sit like, whoa, what did that person just say? Oh my God. Or best case, you develop all three, but you should at least evoke one emotion. Okay, laugh and sometimes cry. That's really, really good. So just try to at least have like one of those emotions. But I'm gonna send Jordi. We need to send out this video with Arman. It's just he talks about how to create powerful stories, and when he's on stage, 500 people I've seen in live, they just cry. Business guys in suit, and it's crazy. Timing, of course, never go over time. I was just in a conference, and one of the biggest speaker, the one that charges the most, he actually went over time. So I know this sounds like Captain Obvious, but you gotta practice your slides. You gotta practice the day before. I usually do. I have a rough estimate on all my presentations, and in Canva I have different sets. I have a set called 20 minutes, 125, 30. So I know roughly like this will be 25 minutes. But the day before, I practice each slide with a timer. I add it together in ChatGPT, and I see like, okay, how am I doing? And I try to aim for, if I have 25 minutes on stage, I aim to practice for 24. And then I have some backup slides. So if I on stage I did 24, I see I have 1 minute left. I go like, okay, guys, I actually have one more treat for you, but never go over time. It's better to go under. Audience engagement. This is something is going to be in really big demand. And I was on this speaker training in a mountain in Norway with other speakers. And Erik, a really good friend of mine, he's one of the best speakers in Norway. He won also Speaker of the Year, I think 22, important, speaking about the future. He showed how he uses tech to engage audience. And he's a tech guy. This completely changed the way I do presentations. All the speakers who were in that training, I know all of them, they all started to implement this, and it just completely elevate the presentation. So I use Slido. That was the one Erik recommended. In Slido, it's super easy. They have a free version. I think I paid 200 euros for mine. We're going to send a link to it, but I'm the biggest Slido fan. I'm trying to get them to sponsor my podcast because I'm just like, I can't recommend it high enough. Slido is really cool because you can make word clouds. So basically here, a QR code comes up and people can, give their thoughts. So for example, like I go on stage and I start with like, hey, I want to know what you guys actually feel about Gen Z, and be transparent. This is anonymous. Just, say what you think. And then like this word starts to pop out on the screen: lazy, entitled, hardworking, technological, don't give a shit. And all these words start to pop out, and that gives me a clear overview what my audience feels about my topic. And it's also cool because the organizer, they like to receive this workout later. And one time I did a joke because there was so much negativity, and I said like, wow, actually I joked, this is not anonymous. Somebody's going to get a call from HR tomorrow. And everybody was like, whoa. And I started to laugh and I said, I'm joking. Or am I? It was a bit mean. But this is also good for audience Q&A. I'm doing a quiz here. So on stage, I do a quiz. Hey, how good are you with Gen Z slang? So this is Slido. It just works really, really well. I make them play drums. Okay, that's really cool. Really cool on it. So visibility. So now we talked about the presentation. Let's talk a bit about visibility. It's very good to see good speakers. They're very like mostly through LinkedIn, stages, and referrals, those three parts. So, and they all signal very clarity. What I mean by this, like if somebody goes to your LinkedIn website, or even they see your email signature, can they in 30 seconds, like, get what challenge do you help them solve through your talk? Is it like very, very clear in 30 seconds? Try to do that tomorrow. Just wake up, look at your email signature, LinkedIn website, like, is it super clear? Authority content. Here you can, really work on how are you the expert on this field. For example, research. I think a big reason for my success with Gen Z speaking was that I did the research, 125 Gen Zs in Norway. So I was like, hey, I know how a Gen Z in Norway think, what they look for in a leader. Are you curious to hear about it? So the research really helps. Or like, you can be like, hey, I interviewed 20 top CEOs in all the public traded companies in Denmark. This is the trends we see for 2026, downsizing, investing, whatever. Or I studied 50 books about negotiation, and this is what I found. So building authority works really well. You can also borrow the credibility. For example, like I just interviewed the VP of strategy at company this, this is what they say. And transform that into content that's visible on LinkedIn works really nice. So again, also pattern visibility. It's about being there and being visible. Especially LinkedIn lately, like last few months, I guess a lot of you also notice it, that the reach is not that good as it used to be. I think it's because there's so much shit, sorry, saying the word, but there's so much shit AI content. People use automations to post. People don't write anymore. But still, like I post, I have 5,000 followers. Some posts get like 100, no, 400 or 500 views, some 1,000. But then I did a post 2 days ago and it got 14,000 views. So you never know when it just blows up, but it is about consistency. Yes, it works, it takes, but it takes time, but it pays off. So if you look at the sales, well, I'm visiting a friend, Antonia. She's about to make dinner. Oh, looks good, Antonia. Yeah. So direct outreach. This is what most speakers tell me. And this is also what I do myself. Good old email and phone. So I'm going to share with you my routine to get more meetings that leads to more to more stages. So this is my weekly routine. Monday, I identify 10 companies or conferences where I generally know I can help. I know that if they book me as a speaker, they will be happy. They have a challenge I know what about. And if I contact them, I'm helping. I'm not selling myself. I'm not doing this for the money. I'm generally helping these events or companies to achieve better results. So I use Google and deep search function of ChatGPT. Have anyone used the deep research function of ChatGPT? Like I know people maybe use different one, but like has anyone actually used this deep research function? Okay, I also see a question. So people start to add a position statement at the end of each post. I know it's maybe still salesy. I think as long as your profile says what you do, it should be enough. Okay, so yes, this is super interesting. This for me, I discovered 6 months ago. It's a life-changing moment. So basically, I said like, hey, find 10 HR leadership conference in Denmark, include phone, email, date, and name of contact. And boom, I'm getting all of this information from the deep research. Now it takes 20 times, so 20 minutes to 30 minutes, but it just creates some really, really powerful data. So then I copy paste it. I have a CRM system. If somebody wants it, we can give it for free. It's a really nice way. So each week I find these 10 companies and I contact them. By the way, I contacted Anna and I told him like, hey, I wrote an email, she replied, and I was like, I'm going to show how I write it. But like, she said, like, we haven't even started the theme for September. And then I was like, okay, but can we do a meeting next week to discuss a breakfast event? So I think this will, lead to a gig. So Monday, I add them on LinkedIn and I send an email. And Friday, I just pick up the phone and it's so freaking easy. I just pick up the phone and say like, hey, Max here. I sent you an email on Monday. Did you have a chance to have a look at it? That's it. And then we start the conversation. So this is my routine to kind of always keep activity, always be there in front of people. One of the things I do, 1 hour on Monday, 20 minutes on Friday. And it leads to meetings. I did this to an organization in Finland. We did a meeting in December, and it looks like I'm getting the gig for May. So it's just really, really been working for me. So my template, when I write it, I like to keep it very short. And this is an email I wrote to Espresso House in Sweden. And the thing is, like, I really don't want it to look like a mass marketing email, right? I want it to look personal because, hey, I'm only doing 10 of this a week. I can take the time to research them, write something good. I want it to be human to human. So I write just like, hey, Patrick, and I wrote it, hey, in Swedish. Then I was like, I just held a talk for 200 franchise leaders in Pizzabacken, an espresso house. It's we can call it Swedish Starbucks, about how to work with Gen Z. Are you planning any big leadership gatherings with your franchise or like owners? And then I write, like, by the way, I used to have your coffee subscription here in Norway. Loved it. They discounted it, but I loved it. So when he receives this, do you guys agree that this looks like a human based email, right? Most speakers, they just send this long email pitching themselves. But imagine if you meet this person in an elevator. Would you just go crazy like, oh, this is me, this is where I studied? No, try to kind of start human conversation. So just keep it this short. And these emails, I usually have a very, very high reply rate on them. Okay, so Friday, I call them again, just, hey, Max here, did you get my email? And the conversation starts. And then on this call, I always try to book for a coffee on Google Meet. In my call, I sell in the meeting. I'm not trying to sell myself. I'm just trying to sell the meeting. Then to find emails, I use Apollo plus a LinkedIn plugin. So just to show you how that works, let me open LinkedIn. Okay, so share this tab instead. So I have this plugin, Apollo, and basically when I click on a profile, I'm not sure it's going to show you, but I have this, I can click and then it just displays me the email. I don't think it shows in this window, but we're gonna share a link to that later. Oh, wait 1 second here. What happened? Tech, see, 1 second, screen, there. Another thing I've been using a lot now is a mix of Apollo, AimFox, and posting on LinkedIn. So let me just explain it quickly. So each month I find 700 to 800 leads on Apollo. Apollo is basically a database of businesses. We can share the screen. So when I go to Apollo here, so for example, imagine I want to enter Sweden, right? So I will go to companies and I will look for, first I use account location. Where are they based? I go Sweden. Then I want to have company size. Like usually the RFIs, small companies, they don't have the budgets for us to play the big game. Then I look for example, restaurant. Okay. And I can also go for hospitality. Okay. Hospitality there. So that, boom, we have like the biggest hospitality companies in Sweden, 46. Cool. Then I look for people. So here we just do account location, we do employees, and we do industry. If you work, for example, like in tech, you can do, like software. So it's really easy to find in your industry. Then we look for people. So let's see here, search people to reset the companies. So usually I want to talk to the HR director. Sometimes I try to find the titles that there are in Sweden. But here you see, I have like 38 people who work in these places. I can also have like maybe employee branding, or I can have like VP of HR. Then I just like to this, export all. So I get like all the 38 leads. And my next step is I upload them to something called AimFox. AimFox is a connection between LinkedIn and it's a connection to LinkedIn. So what it does is that if you find, for example, 800 HR leaders, each day it will automatically connect with them. And if they accept, it will send a message, hey, Max here, cool to connect. And then 2 days later, it sends a message. I speak about Gen Z topic. Are you planning any leadership conferences this year? And that's kind of like, one, it makes your LinkedIn grow. Every day you're connecting with decision makers who book speakers like you. And further of all, if you post good content, those people will see it, right? It is kind of like a numbers game, but those people, they will see it. So that's been working really, really well. Okay, yeah, I kind of explain that. So, and posting, I would say 2 to 4 videos and 2 to 4 articles a month, you're already doing a really good job. Booking conversations during the meeting. By the way, are we having a good time here, guys? I know it's a lot of information, but I try to just compact this. We are all busy. We have a busy life. We have some of us as kids and all of this. So I'm just boom, boom, boom. There will be a replay sent out. Okay, but so far so good. Anu, this is so cool. Thank you for that. Really happy to hear that. Okay, you guys are being amazing. I'm having so much fun here. So during the meeting, the mantra is 90% about them. I just talked to George, a really crazy good speaker who speaks all over the world in really high fees. The whole meeting is like, hey, how can I help? How can I, how can my talk help? What challenges do you have? Why are you considering booking me? What feeling do you want to have when we're done with this conference? And actually, and okay, this is great. Oh, thank you guys. You are amazing. And actually, Josh, he's like, if he goes into a meeting and they're ready to book him, but he doesn't feel like he's the best fit, he will actually say so. Like he will be like, hey, I know another speaker who better fits for this. And he will recommend that speaker. He won't take any commission, but he's just like, his whole attitude is, how can I help? How can I help you? So you go into the meeting 90% about them. Why do they want to book you? Follow-ups that close, be on top, not to push it, but be on top. I usually like a conference, they maybe consider 3 or 4 speakers for your position. Say they want to have a speaker about AI and cybersecurity, they maybe interview 3 to 4 speakers. They haven't like really decided one. So what I like to do then is like, I like to say like, hey, I've been thinking about your event. We can also run a giveaway from stage, and I'm just really excited about this. I'm really excited about working with you. So I usually do like, trying to be on the radar. I don't disappear. And show that you want to help. One thing is like I lost a gig recently because I was too passive. So basically what happened was it was a conference, and they wanted a Gen Z speaker in Norway, in the mountain. It was really well paid. It was because it was like on English and all of this. It was a 4K budget. For at least for me, that's good. I'm trying to reach 5, but 4K is good. And they were considering me another speaker, and I just knew that I was a better match. I knew the other speaker is really good, but for this, I just knew I was a better match. And my agent was like, yeah, they're considering both of you. And I didn't do anything. I was just like, okay, let them consider. And then they choose the other one. And I was like, ah. So I called my agent now, like, look, should I have taken a meeting with them before? And he said something interesting. Usually no, because people go desperate into those meetings and they just like overwhelm the organizer. But he said, in your case, Max, you are kind of professional and good. Yeah, you should have done the meeting with that 90% attitude, met them, talked about their challenges, asked them like, why they're hosting this event, how can I help? And I think if I did that meeting, I would have gotten that gig. So it sucks, but now I'm not being that passive. So never be too passive, and just okay, let them decide. Try to be on top of it without being pushy. Pricing with confidence. If you look at the budgets, like free ruins the market. I only do free gigs if it's in another country and it's a market I try to break into. Starters, up and coming. I would say in Europe the average is 2,000 to 4,000. Of course, there are speakers who do 4,000 to 9,000. In Norway, it's usually like celebrity or the full-time speaker. But I have seen speakers also like who are not celebrities who have managed to do 4 to 9. If we look at the agents and scale, okay, wait, I was aside here. I had a podcast with Klaus, a really cool Danish person, because there's lots of discussion like, should you have your pricing on your website? I have it on my speaking agency, but I'm thinking what to do and asking all the speakers about it. But Klaus has a really interesting strategy. His website says 3,000 to 15,000 euros. And when he gets contacted, he does a lot of gigs. And when he gets contacted, he just says to them, hey, I want to work with you. We're going to work this out. And he asked them to give a fair budget. And he said a lot of times he actually ended up on 10K when he thought it's going to be a 3K. So that podcast episode is coming out soon. This guy is crazy good. He goes on stage as Batman. He talks about getting shit done. I really recommend watching that podcast episode. So having pricing available, most time I would say is a good thing, but you have to really think it through. Agents and scale. So working with agents. Here, a bit bragging. In 2023, my agency that represents me, Tallisten, they had 700 speakers, and I won the prize they give out every year, Rocket of the Year. And among 700 speakers, I had the highest growth rate, 522% that year. And Niels completely changed my life. Just this year, I haven't lifted a finger, and they already gave me 25.7K in gigs. And I've been working really close with Niels. I was one of the first speakers in this agency, and they've been sending me to conferences I would never know about. So let's just spend 2 minutes reflecting on an agent. I really recommend an agent because they get requests all the time, and you will enter stages that you would never think about, right? It can be some fish farm in outside the small village, and they want a speaker. You would never get that gig yourself. Usually an agent takes between 20 to 35%. I have a 20% deal with Thalesen, and in Norway, I'm exclusive. I'm going to talk about why I decided to do that. But in general, I really recommend having an agent. It just opens up opportunities that you would normally not get. Getting an agent, you got to bring the business. Thalesen, and I've been interviewing a lot of agents for my podcast. They all get like 20 to 50 people a week. I'm not joking, a week. And they say no to like 97%. Most of the people just like, hey, I want to be a speaker. I want to tell a story. That's like the first way to get rejected. So you got to bring them business. For example, like this is a template you can use to get an agent. It's like, hey, I know most speakers usually reach out asking to be on the list. That's what I'm doing here. I just got booked to speak at PayPal next month. It's a 1.5K talk. I've been thinking for a while that it's time to bring on an agent, and this feels like a natural place to start. I'd love for you to handle the final details and take your cut. Low risk, real opportunity, and a chance to see if we work well together. Does that sound like worth chatting about? If you send this email, it's very hard for them to say no, because it's just hard for people to say no to money. So of course you can perfectly fine negotiate this yourself, but it signals that, hey, I'm in demand. Hey, I understand the agent game. The agent game is me and you building a business together. You will send me business, but I will also send you business, and we will together make money. That is the whole agent game. If you have the attitude like, hey, I'm going to do all my gigs and take the 100%, and then my agent going to send me some, no, it usually doesn't work that way. You have to build a business together, build that relationship. Then you will really increase your chances. And Anu, thank you for the congrats, by the way. Yeah, I'm trying to like navigate the comment section and the presentation. So bring demand to agencies, exclusivity or not. It's a very hard one. It depends where you are in your journey. But I chose exclusivity in Norway because just again, I want to build my business in Norway with them, and it makes that they push me much more. So either way, if you're exclusive or not, just bring them business, and they will push you. How should you meet your agent? I had a podcast with Niels, and his answer was, I'm going to spoil it, 3 to 4 times. So I'm very conscious. Like I spend most of the time outside Barcelona. I conscious, like every time in Oslo, I check, hey, can I drop by for a lunch? And I'm not only meeting Niels, I have a full overview over all the people working in Thalesen. He have 4 salespeople. I regularly call those 4 salespeople. I take them out for lunch. And I'm just building this really strong relationship. So you need to be on top, but you shouldn't just go to an agent and be like, hey, can we have a lunch? You should come to an agent like, hey, I want to discuss these opportunities. You come to them and say like, hey, this 10 HR conferences, this is the people, this is the email, this is the phone number. Can you pitch me in? I'm a perfect fit. So you kind of help them push them. Okay, we have one here. What if the agent never brings you anything, but always takes the cut of everything you find yourself? So look, this is very easy. Holten, right? Holten, yeah, or what's the name? So you don't sign an exclusivity in the beginning. Just be represented by them. You bring them 1 gig in good faith, and try to work together. Then if they never, if you keep sending them gigs and they don't send to you, okay, maybe it's time to change another agency. There are agencies who are good, there are agencies who are bad. Just try to find the one that fits you good. That's a very, very good question. And what's your name? Open performance. Very good question. René. Okay, René. Perfect. Okay. International expansion. So same as above, find them gigs, bring them to an agent, and build strong partnership. I had a conversation now with Stefan. Stefan is, I would say, the best speaker in whole of Sweden, at least the top 5. He's been doing over 1,000 talks. His fees are, I think, around 9K euros. And we were just like, we were on this speaker retreat in January, skiing together. And he's a really cool guy. And he tells stories. It's insane. Anyway, he's like, yeah, I'm breaking into London now, working on an agency. And he does the exact same thing. He does the sales. He finds the gigs. And once he gets a gig, he goes to the agency like, hey, do you want to take 50% cut? I want to start working with an agent in London. So like really the top speakers are using this method, and it just works really, really, really well. All right. So long-term strategy, niche down. Fewer markets are better than going too wide. I would go like 1 agent in your country. Maybe I'm working now to expand to Sweden, Denmark, and Finland. I'm working and doing the same thing. One agent in each country and build strong relationship with them. Proof and assets, guys, we're almost done here. We're coming to the end. Speaker reel. We analyzed 500 speaker reel plus and talked to plenty of agents like, hey, what should a reel actually have in order to be visible? We're going to go through what that should be. Okay, just like when you say you bring them 1 gig, what do you mean by that? That you book yourself the gig and they get a cut? Yeah, so I usually get, so imagine like you want to go to Norway, you want to speak. What's your topic, by the way? So you want to break into Norway. You search for a conference, say it's about HR, you talk with them and they say, hey, we want to book you, let's go. And you're this close to signing the paper. Then you reach out to an agency, for example, like Tarlisten, and be like, hey, I got this gig, I'm looking for an agent, do you want to do the final negotiations? I'm happy for you to take a cut. So that's what I mean, bring them a business. You can perfectly fine do it themselves, but it's about that power move of sending a signal like, hey, I'm in demand, I'm getting this rate, and I'm serious about building a business together. Where to find an agent? You look Baltics and Scandinavia, you just have to search for it. So yeah, we got that answered. So back to speaker reel. Hey, perfect length, 1.5 to 2 minutes, consisting of like 5 blocks that you should cover. One opening hook, why is this an important topic? Why is like, what, for example, like for me, it's like every leader faces their frustration. Young employees don't stay, don't engage, and don't respond to leadership style that used to work. They're not lazy, they're not loyal, respond to a system that no longer speaks their language. Why you? I work closely with Gen Z employees, leaders, I've seen what disengages and what makes them stay. So why you, in a sentence? The promise of your talk. And here is like very important. I share several practical advice. And I also say like something you can implement the very next day. I don't want them to think like, oh, Max is going to come and say we should refurbish our office to look like Google. I'm like, no, I'm going to come and I'm going to share real practical advice you can implement the very next day. This is going to be a real talk with real tips. Prove that it works. Like, what do people say? Like, hey, I've been speaking about this for so many companies and the feedback is always the same, blah, blah, blah. Like, what's the feedback? Your signature style. This sentence I recommend every speaker to include. If it's true for you, no white slides or boring bullet points. Because, hey, what do organizers fear the most in their life? It's hiring a speaker, they go on stage, it's boring, not engaging, white slides, bullet points, and everybody's bored. That's every nightmare of anyone booking a speaker. So I just usually have that sentence every time. And then call to book you. Hey, so if you're ready to step up the game with Gen Z, let's grab a coffee and talk. Boom. So I think my speaker is 135, straight to the point. Website, I just did one for Sylvie. It's very like straight to the point. Like, every company talks about stability, few make it sticks. I show leaders how to turn SDG goals into daily employee habits. Boom. My website, helping companies recruit, lead, and communicate with Gen Z through powerful keynotes and workshops. Again, guys, 30 seconds is what we have. Is your message clear? Media kit, send out a speaker description, photo, and social media. Just have it ready in one Google Drive folder with everything ready so that, they can really easily add them to your program, have a good headshot, and again, focus on the speaker bio, on the outcome of your talk, not about you studied, what you did. Hey, if you listen to me, this is what will change in your organization. So have a good headshot. I'm not using this, but I actually have this. Yeah, again, joking on webinars is so hard because I don't know if anybody found that funny. Yeah, but yeah, just a good headshot works. Picture of you on stage, like this with Nils, also works really well, but it should just be a good photo of you either smiling or on stage in action. Clear keynote description, focus on value and focus on why you. So guys, this is like the 6 blocks I would say that you should really evaluate. Take 2 steps back. Haha, it was funny. I actually did this picture on a conference, just like a quick note. I did this picture on a conference and I was like, hey guys, so Gen Z is this year, this is millennials. I'm a millennial, I'm 94, but if I was born 10 months later, I would probably stand like this in front of you. And everybody laughed. It was really good. So, okay, take a step, look at this and see like where you can improve. And again, if one of this is not working, it's gonna be like driving with a punctured wheel. But hey, congrats, you're now ahead of the majority of speakers, and you know everything, like the most successful dude to be, besides being good on stage. And everything is in today, like the website, presentation design, influx, outreach, content, you can absolutely do on your own. That was the goal, to provide value here. So people go out of the webinar and are like, okay, this is awesome. I can now start implementing. And here you have like two ways of doing it. One way is learn everything and figure it out as you go. You learn marketing, web and graphic design, content creation, video editing, sales, and go for it. But it kind of drains your focus and time. Or you can do the second option. The second option is hire multiple website agencies, freelancers, and try to manage the whole thing by yourself. Once it's running, you can fully focus on matters. But to get there, you need to find, hire, and lead a team, which also can drain focus and time. On top of that, in my experience, it's very hard to find freelancers on all these freelance sites who truly understand the speaker market, which you're still ending up doing a lot of the work yourself. So neither option actually frees you from the real work. And the real work we should do is practicing and being great on stage. So the real question is like, not if you can do it. The real question is whatever doing it yourself is the best use of your time and money. And I know this struggle really well. As a speaker, I went through these excellent problems. I tried to learn to use Canva really well. I do graphic design courses. Yes, I did it. I downloaded CapCut and took some courses about how to edit videos, and hired graphic designers who didn't understand like how to make wow slides. And it just really, really drains you. So what I needed, it just didn't exist. It was a team that really understand the speaker market, know what decision maker looks for, and execute fast in the right order. So I ended up building a boutique creative studio. It's a small, sharp team focused on making every part of the speaker wheel framework look really, really well. I used them myself as a speaker, and now when I was in North Norway, I did a presentation, and two speakers asked me, "Who did your slides? Can you give them contact information?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course," because everything is just wow. So it's been like quite successful. I've been working with, for example, like world champion in boxing, Billy Schur, really cool guy. We spotted that his presentation could be better and he needed to tweak his positioning. It was very focused on his story as a world champion boxer, not like the return of the value of the talk, which is amazing, and the sales and outreach. So here we did like a full rebranding of the presentation. It's really wow, really, no pun intended, punchy. We went from like 5 agents who didn't perform in UK to negotiate with one and build a strong relationship there. I worked with Atle, and this was really for me touching. Atle is a Formula 1 champion in Norway. He just won Speaker of the Year 4 days ago, he mentioned that very few people, but he mentioned like, yeah, Max Gouchan, thank you for good advice. So we've been working really close with him. For the last 6 months, I've been doing this. I've been working with a lot of interesting speakers in Finland, Norway, Germany, UK, Norway. Fantastic reviews. And the pattern is always the same. Most speakers are great on stage. They're just missing like one or more slices of the speaker wheel to just have a really, really smooth running business. So that's why like today we built kind of like a risk-free offer, I would say. And it is book a 30-minute call with me. I will look through your assets, your website, your presentation, everything, and we will really quickly identify the bottlenecks and craft a custom plan for you. Here's what you walk away with: total clarity on what's slowing down your speaking business, the 2 to 3 moves that will, we can really work on fast that will create growth, and a tailored offers, exactly what's working together could look like. What we usually do with speakers, again, is like a lot of like the talk packaging positioning. We work on the website and landing page. We do the whole redesign of structure and deck. We have a team that creates speaker reel and short videos. I help them with the AimFox setup and have that machinery running with the outbound strategy to work better with agents. I have one speaker who's like, "Hey, I want to enter Canada," so now we're working with him to enter the Canadian market. So this kind of like stuff we usually do. Who's this for? Usually, most of the people I work with, they're already doing 3 to 9K, and they just want more consistency, higher fees, or enter new markets. And you take speaking seriously. And I would say you go on conference, you see 10 other speakers, and you have that feeling like, I want to have the best slides. I want to have the best presentation. I want to rock. If that's you, then this is probably a good fit. And just to make it like really tempting for those who book a call tonight, while we're live, we always like appreciate people joining live, and we have this amazing chat. We made a really cool like special offer, and that is like if you book a call, we will give you a free full LinkedIn overhaul. Like we will look at the copy, the writing, but we will also create like a completely redesigned LinkedIn banner that just communicates who you are. We did this for Arma Speaker of the Year. This was Cecile, Thomas, Atle. It's just really good feedback, and we focus on how can you make your storefront on LinkedIn really shine. So again, like we go to headline, positioning, rewrite everything, and make it really pop. So hey, if you book a call today, I think it's a nice way to get a free upgrade on LinkedIn. So yeah, we have some question if somebody has. And guys, thank you for staying this hour. It's been really, really fun. Went a bit over time, but okay. Ooh, this was fun. I also like think like working together should be a fun process. Like I don't have to do this. I have my own speaking gigs, but for me, working with other speakers and being able to write and be creative and work on awesome design, for me, it's just really fun process. And most of the speakers I work with, I meet in person also. So now we fly to London in March. I'm planning to meet Billy, and we're going to do some boxing session. So if you don't hear from me after March, I'm probably that didn't go so well. Yeah, like this is, I think this is about having fun, and I'm generally excited about see if I can help, because this is an offer I would really appreciate as a speaker myself, just to get those wow slides and make everything pop. And another thing is like I'm spending a lot of time now also to become a better speaker by doing these interviews with speakers. And on Monday, I'm flying to Norway, and it's a 2-day retreat with my agencies where we're gonna get lessons in storytelling, how to better open the presentation. So I'm also investing myself a lot in becoming a better speaker, and all of this I transfer when I work with others. Donnie, meeting scheduled. Okay, cool. You're about to get a completely new overhaul of your LinkedIn, and prepare the coffee. We're gonna have so much fun in that meeting. Awesome, Donnie. I can wait for that. Cool. Nice. Perfect. Okay, we also have like a question. Yeah, okay, perfect. Yes, Ingrid, thank you so much for your feedback. And then Anu, yeah, we can offer some slots next week. This week is also a bit crazy for me. Next week would be nice. I have a gig, but that should work. Yeah. And just like one last note is like end of first week of June, we are planning a retreat in outside Barcelona. We're gonna do like around 10 speakers who are making already now more than 2K, because we want to have a certain level. It will be by application only, but we're gonna do like 3 days in Barcelona in a cool villa outside the city center. We're gonna have like guest speakers. We're gonna have a videographer who will like create new content for you. Every speaker get to share some tips and advice with the other ones. It's going to be a possibility to do 10 minutes of your speech and get feedback from the other speakers. So yeah, if you're curious also about that, just book a call. I'll tell you more, but that event is going to be nice. We have a private chef, a friend of mine, Josias, who will come and make it everything. So we have some really cool things planned for next year. And then Jordi, of course, reminds me is that hey, we put a lot of effort into this webinar. Jordi, my team, my designer Christina. So if you can leave a quick review on Google or a note like that, for me would just really mean a lot. And last sales pitch, of course, like I hope when the book is out, I'm planning November. I will send an email, and I would, if you want to, it's probably going to be 20 euros. If you want to buy the book, that would be really badass cool. Nice. Yep. Okay. Good. I'm here for 2 more minutes. If anyone has any last questions or thoughts, I'm And hey, drop your LinkedIn here too. Like if you want to drop your LinkedIn and connect with other speakers, that's just fantastic, right? That's just it's always good to network and connect. Perfect. Yeah. Nice, nice, nice. Cool. Andrew, I see you added me in there. So nice. Cool. Then you have a really cool like profile on LinkedIn. Perfect. We can also spice it up. Yeah, you have okay, so René was here. He won 3 Olympic medals and 3 times world champion. I told you guys this the people we had tonight was amazing. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Okay. Whew. Jordy, well done. And hey, big thanks for Jordy. Like he reached out to you on WhatsApp, and he's been really like fixing everything of this, and he's my co-founder in this project and he made this possible, this whole project. So Jordy, thanks. Good job on this one. Really good job. Okay, done 6 TEDx speaker. Okay, wow. This is we have some heavy hitters here, and that was exactly what we were hoping for. Wow. Oh, I see my friend Antonia is cooking here. I can't wait. She's like a fantastic cook. Oof, I'm in for a treat. Okay, one more minute. Like, hey guys, if you have any question, just fire it now, and then book the meeting. Worst case, we just have a coffee and I give you some tips. Best case, you walk out with some really solid like plan for moving forward. Another like cool thing was I called Nils, my manager, and I was like, hey, I have a Christmas gift for you. And he's like, okay. I'm like, send me your presentation. He sent me my slide deck, and our designer remade it, and he just called me like, hey, Max, we need to offer this to our 500 speakers. Like, how can we do this? So when we create a slide deck, it's like, wow. All right, I'm gonna go eat. Thank you for this amazing Tuesday evening. Really awesome to connect, and we have so many people who actually booked a call. I'm excited. So yeah, let's go. We're gonna close it up, and I guess stay safe and reach out if there is anything I can help with. Always down for coffee. Bye bye.